Discovered, a grandmother's heartwarming journey after her granddaughter's shocking message. The rain drummed softly against the window of Emma's flower shop, the familiar scent of fresh blooms mingling with the cool, crisp air. Each petal she touched felt like a whisper, each arrangement, a love letter to the world. She poured her heart into crafting a bouquet of daisies, their vibrant yellow brightness illuminating the cozy space that had been her sanctuary and livelihood in Willow Creek for 40 years. But on this rainy afternoon, an undercurrent of loneliness brushed against her heart. Her granddaughter Mia had walked away, leaving a bitter void that nobody, not even the sweet-smiling customers, could fill. The ache lingered, a silent reminder of an estrangement that stole her happiness. Then, out of the blue, a ping sliced through the silence, a video message from Mia. Emma's heart raced as she pressed play. The screen flickered to life, revealing a pale, fragile version of the vibrant girl she once knew, now tugged by shadows of depression. "Grandma," Mia's voice trembled, thin as the raindrops falling against the glass. "I'm struggling, and I feel so alone. It's hard to explain." Emma's heart shattered. The words struck deep, unearthing old wounds. Tears streamed down her cheeks, glistening like the raindrops, as she realized how much they both needed each other. Fueled with hope, Emma vowed to reconnect. But as her attempts to heal their bond began, she was met with distaste from the community she adored. Gatherings at the local cafe were steeped in scornful whispers, the elders shaking their heads at Mia's choices. The once warm glances turned icy, leaving Emma feeling like an outcast in a town she devoted her life to. She could almost hear the judgments echoing through the air. How could they abandon her when Mia needed them most? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Undeterred, Emma organized a community event focused on mental health awareness, branding it a beacon of hope in the fog of misunderstanding. As she spread the word, the brick wall of ridicule loomed taller. Such nonsense. A veteran had spat at her one day. "We don't need therapy, we have each other." Each mocking word felt like daggers piercing her spirit. Yet, the quiet strength she nurtured in her shop blossomed into a fierce resolve. She would fight for Mia, fight for understanding. Days passed, and Emma found a flicker of transformation within herself. Conversations with customers turned into discussions about mental health, and through selling flowers, she began to wield compassion like a shield. And just as she thought progress was within reach, a twist revealed Mia's hidden resilience, strength flickering in her words that Emma had never noticed before. It ignited a new hope, and determination flowed through her veins. On the day of the event, with weary faces turned toward her and a knot of anxiety tightening in her chest, Emma stepped forward, heart pounding. Would they embrace the truth about mental health, or would they recoil? Just as she spoke, the crowd buzzed with skepticism. Then, from the depths of the crowd, a familiar figure emerged, a silhouette that set her heart racing. Would this be the moment that changed everything, or would it unveil the shadows that still loomed over their love? Emma took a deep breath, her voice quivering with hope as she began to speak. "Thank you all for coming today, for being brave enough to be here." She glanced at the crowd, searching for familiar faces among the sea of strangers, but her gaze quickly found Mia. There she stood, her nervousness barely masked by a determined expression, her striking blue hair standing out even more amid the dreary backdrop of the cafe. Mia's presence sent a surge of warmth through Emma. It was the spark she needed. "We need to talk about mental health," she continued, her heart racing. "It's not a sign of weakness, it's a journey many people face, a battle fought even within our own walls." A few murmurs rippled through the crowd, a mix of curiosity and resistance. Emma pressed on, fueled by both love and urgency. She shared her and Mia's story, holding back tears as she spoke about their bond and the struggles that had driven them apart. "We all have our battles," she said, her voice firm. And it's the support of family and friends that can make all the difference. Mia stepped forward, her eyes shimmering with a mix of vulnerability and strength. I thought I was alone, she said, her voice barely above a whisper, yet echoing in the still air. But listening to my grandma, it's helped me find my voice. A gasp of surprise swept through the cafe. This was the moment Emma had been waiting for. She felt her own heart swell with pride and an overwhelming need to protect this moment. But I am still struggling, Mia continued, the honesty in her words resonating deeply. And it's okay to struggle, it's okay to ask for help. We shouldn't hide in the shadows. Emma watched as the weight of Mia's truth settled over the room. Faces once filled with disbelief turned into expressions of consideration. The elderly man who had mocked Emma earlier shifted uncomfortably, a flicker of guilt crossing his features. Could it be that this young girl was speaking a truth they had all long ignored? Hope began to weave through the room like a delicate thread, connecting strangers with shared pain. Emma noticed some audience members wiping their eyes, a flicker of understanding igniting amongst them. Just then, a woman in the back raised her hand. I've been through something similar with my son. I didn't know how to talk about it. Her voice was shaky but empowered. I thought I'd be judged. That's just it. Emma spoke urgently. We cannot let fear of judgment keep us silent. We have to break the cycle. Encouraged by the unfolding dialogue, other community members began to share their experiences, a vulnerability that had been silenced for too long starting to bloom in the room. Emma saw healing beginning, a collective unraveling of stigma as barriers fell away. But as the discussion deepened, Emma could feel the tension lurking at the fringes. Not everyone was convinced. Just as a middle-aged woman stood to speak, her brow furrowed with skepticism, a heavy silence enveloped the crowd. I'm not sure this is the place for all of this. People need to toughen up. Her words cut through the hopeful atmosphere like a chill. Emma's heart sank for a moment, the doubts had come creeping back. Yet before she could respond, another voice chimed in. It's okay to be strong, but it's also okay to be vulnerable. We can be both. It was Mia again, her eyes ablaze with newfound confidence. Emma felt fire in her heart. This was not just a battle for their relationship anymore, this was for everyone who had felt unheard and alone. As the debate continued, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that a turning point was close at hand. But just as things seemed to settle, she noticed movement at the entrance of the cafe. A newcomer had stepped inside. Who could it be? Would they be a friend, or another adversary in this fight for understanding? The door creaked open wider, and Emma's breath held tight in her chest as all eyes turned to see who had entered. The figure stepped fully into the light, and a hush fell over the cafe. Emma squinted, her heart racing as recognition washed over her. It was Grandma June, Mia's grandmother, a woman whose warm smile had always made Emma feel welcome. But this time, a shadow seemed to linger behind her kind eyes. June! Mia exclaimed, rushing from the front to embrace her. The worry etched in her grandmother's features melted into relief, and the two shared a poignant hug that tugged at everyone's heartstrings. Emma felt the air shift. June was a beacon, a symbol of all familiar touchstones in unexpected moments. Just her presence alone prompted a wave of comfort in the room. What's happening here? June's voice quivered slightly as she glanced around, taking in the gathered crowd. It was as if she could sense the weight of unspoken words hanging like silent shadows. Emma stepped forward, heart pounding. We're talking about mental health, Emma said, her voice steady despite the chaos of her thoughts. Mia shared her story, and it had opened the floor to others. We need to break the stigma. June's brow knitted in concern, searching Mia's eyes for reassurance. Is this what you wanted to do, sweet pea? Mia nodded, her chin quivering with emotion. Yeah, Grandma. I thought people needed to hear that they are not alone. An awkward stillness lingered as June registered the tension in the room, but then, her face brightened into understanding. Well then, it seems my girl is bravely leading the charge, she said, her tone firm with pride. Not alone, Mia said softly, looking at her grandmother, not anymore. Encouraged by Mia's strength, June took a deep breath, her gaze sweeping over the audience. You know, I thought I was supportive, never doubted that I was here for her. But I didn't see how deep her struggles went. As her grandma, I thought I understood, but I failed to really listen. Ripples of realization spread through the crowd as people exchanged glances filled with empathy. The older members, who had initially reacted with skepticism, nodded slowly. It was a reminder that even the strongest relationships could miss the mark if conversations weren't honest and open. June continued, her voice gaining strength. Mental health isn't just a struggle for the young. It flows through generations. It's our job to make it okay to talk about these things without shame, without fear of judgment. That's how we can stand together. Every word seemed to grow roots, blossoming into hope. Emma watched as people began to lean in closer, their attentive expressions inviting more stories to emerge. This was no longer just Mia's story, it was everyone's. Then, suddenly, the woman who had challenged them earlier stood again, her eyes glistening. I never thought I'd see the day when I would be in a cafe, listening and feeling connected, she admitted. I too have been afraid of my own weaknesses. Mia turned to her, surprise and gratitude flooding her features. You're not weak, she said with sincerity. You're brave for facing it. The atmosphere shifted, the walls that kept them apart now dissolving. Each shared voice fueled a growing sense of community. Emma felt the electricity of connection, the kind that wrapped around souls and stitched them together in understanding. But just as the sentiment seemed to peak and mingled laughter started to escape, an unmistakable tension returned. The door creaked open once more, allowing a gust of wind that sent a chill down Emma's spine. Another figure stood poised at the threshold, their intention unreadable. This time, the air was thick with uncertainty. Who was this new arrival? Would they be willing to add their voice to a conversation that could change everything? The figure hesitated, framed by the door, a silhouette against the bright light pouring in from outside. Emma's heart raced as the crowd held its collective breath. Curiosity blended with anxiety, and within that tension was a whisper of hope. Slowly, the figure stepped inside, a familiar outline emerging from the shadows. It was Emily, Mia's estranged mother. Emma felt a wave of shock wash over her. No one had expected Emily to show up, especially not now. The cafe, which had embraced vulnerability just moments ago, now pulsed with apprehension. Emily's eyes darted across the room, searching, almost pleading, wanting to find her daughter in this sea of unforeseen revelations. Mia, taken aback, felt her heart sink. Years had filled the space between them with silence and resentment, leaving a chasm so wide it felt insurmountable. Yet as their eyes met, something shifted, a flicker of connection despite the weight of the past pressing down. Emma could feel the air tight around them, each heartbeat a reminder of lost time. Mom? Mia's voice broke through the quiet, full of uncertainty. Emily stepped forward, her hands trembling as she tried to find the words. I came as soon as I heard, she said, her voice cracking under the strain. I saw that you were here, and I needed to be a part of this. To what? Mia interrupted, hurt flashing in her eyes. To prove you care? Where have you been all these years? The rawness in Mia's tone hung heavy, and June moved closer to her granddaughter, offering silent support. Emma felt the electric tension recapturing the room as others watched, equally invested in this unexpected reunion. I know I messed up, Emily continued, tears starting to brim in her eyes. I ran away from my own struggles, and in doing so, I abandoned you. But I didn't know how to talk about my pain. I didn't think it was okay to talk about anything. Mia stepped back slightly, her body tense. You never even tried. June spoke up, her voice steady but filled with warmth. Sometimes we need the courage to show up even when we fear rejection. It's not just about the words, it's about being here now. The strength in June's words echoed powerfully, coaxing the crowd toward understanding. Emily nodded, clinging to the small thread of hope woven through her mother's honesty. I want to listen, Mia. I want to be the support you need. For a moment, the cafe fell silent, everyone waiting on Mia's reaction. It was a moment of reckoning, a moment that seeped into the very bones of the building. Emma could see the conflict inside Mia, a familiar struggle played out in her features. Mia's voice was almost a whisper when she answered, "I don't know if I can trust you right now." There was pain in her words, raw and unfiltered. But still, the small flicker of hope lingered in the air, pulsing with possibility. Emily stepped closer, her own vulnerability surfacing. "I'll prove to you that I'm here to stay. One step at a time. Just give me that chance." Then, the door opened slightly again, and the world outside rushed in a rush of shadows blending into the light. Together, they turned to see who had joined them this time as a familiar face appeared, one that could either shatter this fragile moment or resurrect something beautiful. This time, would hope shine through, or would it be the end of the possibility of healing? The cafe felt electric, the air thick with unspoken words. The familiar face stepping inside was none other than Rose, Emily's mother and Mia's grandmother. Her presence was an echo from the past, an unexpected bridge between 3 generations marked by pain, love, and hope. "Mia?" Rose's voice trembled with disbelief. She had known the rift between her daughter and granddaughter had been deep, but she hadn't anticipated standing at the heart of such turmoil. Her eyes flicked between Emily and Mia, both standing at emotional crossroads. "What is happening here?" Mia turned, her whole body tense, not quite ready for the sudden shift. "Grandma, it's complicated." The words hung in the air, a fragile confession that hadn't been spoken aloud in years. Rose wasn't one to shy away from conflict. She took a step closer, her heart breaking at the sight of her estranged daughter and granddaughter. "Complicated doesn't mean we can't sort through it," she said gently, her voice filled with a warmth that had always defined her. "It means we need to talk. Together." Emily's eyes shone with unshed tears at the sight of her mother. Words buzzed at the back of her throat, but she could only nod, filled with an overwhelming sense of vulnerability. Sage had always been her guiding voice, a reminder that family mattered most. Mia, feeling the weight of everyone's gaze, hesitated before speaking. "Gran, it's a lot to unpack." She noticed how both women looked at her, searching for answers. "Mom just showed up after years and I don't even know what to feel." "Neither do I," Emily interjected, her voice raw. "But I'm here because I've missed you every day. I want to make it right for us, Mia." Emma, watching from the sidelines, could see how fragile this moment was. The cafe, once filled with the chatter of strangers, had become an intimate circle intertwined with generations of pain and love. Everything depended on how they chose to respond. Rose took a deep breath, her own memories flickering like candlelight, her daughter struggling with her choices and now her granddaughter caught in the crossfire. "Mia, please. Listen to her. She's trying to reach out. I know it's hard. We've all made mistakes," she said, her gaze heavy with history. "But this is a chance for healing." Mia looked at her grandmother, then back at Emily. The swirl of emotions was dizzying. "I'm tired of pain, Grandma, and pretty fed up with the silence. Part of me is angry, but there's a tiny part that wants to trust." Emily stepped forward, tentative but determined. "Let us start small. One conversation, then we can see where it leads. I promise to be here, for you and Grandma, as long as you'll have me." The cafe felt suspended in time, all eyes were on Mia. Moments like this didn't come easily, they often cracked open old wounds. But healing could be on the horizon if they chose to take that step together. Mia's heart raced, her breath caught in her throat. Could she allow herself to open up, even just a little? Just then, the door swung open again, this time more forcefully, introducing another surprise visitor whose arrival would further complicate the fragile atmosphere. Her own father, Mark. His presence was an unexpected wave crashing against the shore, threatening both the newfound hope and the delicate thread binding mother and daughter. In that instant, the possibilities swelled within Mia, and she found herself grappling not just with who she could trust, but with the family she had always envisioned versus the one laid bare in front of her. Would this unravel everything, or could it foster something finally healing? Mia froze, her heart pounding in her chest as she locked eyes with Mark. He had always represented the ghost of the past, a familiar yet distant figure from her childhood. The way he stood at the entrance, slightly out of breath and looking around as if searching for a place to belong, made Mia's stomach twist. "Dad?" she managed to whisper. The word felt foreign, heavy with years of unspoken grievances and unresolved feelings. Emily's gaze shifted between her daughter and Mark. Anger burned within her. How could he just stroll in here after all this time? Did he even realize the chaos he was about to unleash? But even amidst her rage, a part of her felt sad for Mia, caught in the whirlwind of conflicting emotions. "Mia," Mark began, his voice shaky but insistent. "I received your message. I didn't know how to approach you after everything." He took a step closer, his eyes pleading for understanding. "Everything?" Mia snapped, feeling the sting of 1,000 hurt feelings boil to the surface. She remembered the faint echoes of memories, the laughter, the warmth before he left, and the silence that followed. "You don't get to use that word when you've been absent all these years." Mark flinched, and the hurt in his eyes mirrored her own pain. The cafe around them hushed, and all attention turned to the three of them: the bewildered grandmother, the estranged parents, and the granddaughter torn between love and pain. "Please, let us not do this here." Emily's voice wobbled as she stepped into the fray, trying to be the voice of peace despite her own stormy emotions. "We're starting to have a moment, and this isn't helping." Rose, observing the tension like a seasoned diplomat, finally spoke up. "Maybe he's right," she said softly. "We need to talk. It's the only way any of us might understand. We owe it to Mia." Mia looked at her grandmother, trying to decipher if this was really the right thing to do. The weight of past scars pushed down on her, and Mark's presence felt like a fresh wound being exposed. Despite the unease swirling in her chest, Mia nodded reluctantly. The cafe's atmosphere shifted as if it sensed the significance of this moment. People leaned in, eager to witness the unfolding family drama. "Fine," she said, crossing her arms. "Let us talk. But I'm not sugarcoating anything." Mark's face was conflicted, guilt mixed with a sliver of hope. "I'll take whatever you'll give, Mia. I want to make things right. I've missed so much already." For a fleeting moment, Mia felt a flicker of longing for the father she knew as a child, the one who played catch with her in the backyard and wiped her tears after a fallen bicycle ride. "Do you even understand the damage your absence caused?" she asked, the anger softening but still fierce. "I do now," he replied, his voice cracking under the weight of regret. "I know I chose wrong back then. But I want to be here for you, if you'll let me." Mia's reaction was immediate and visceral. Anger and hurt poured out, mixing with a flicker of hope. Hope that she could finally have her father back, or at the very least, answer the questions that had haunted her. "Why should I trust you?" Mia pressed, her voice trembling, full of vulnerability. "You can't just walk in and expect everything to be okay. My life didn't stop for you." Silence fell momentarily, filling the air with palpable tension. Mark opened his mouth to respond, but the words wouldn't come. From across the cafe, Emily and Rose exchanged glances, both holding their breath as the emotional landscape shifted yet again. Mia's heart raced, caught between wanting to scream and yearning to embrace the father she had lost. The stakes had shifted, and the path forward was tangled in a web of emotions that tangled 3 generations: pain, fear, and a glimmer of hope. Mark started again, but this time, her expression silenced him. She wasn't ready for sweet promises, she needed the truth, the raw, unfiltered reality of her disconnected family. And as she waited for that truth, she felt her defenses waver. But could any healing truly take place when so many unresolved feelings loomed large? With another breath, Mia braced herself for a storm that felt inevitable. What more was Mark prepared to reveal, and could it patch the rift that had divided them for so long? Mia felt the heat of the cafe's spotlight on her, each second stretching into an eternity as she searched Mark's face for something, anything that would assure her he truly understood. Her heart thudded in her chest, clashing with anger, longing, and the vulnerability she tried so hard to shield. "Do you remember the last time we spoke?" she asked, her voice steady despite the rolling storm inside her. I was 12, and you said you'd be back for my birthday. You never came. The words erupted from her mouth, laden with years of pain. Mark's face twisted with guilt, his gaze dropping as if her words had struck him like a physical blow. I remember, he admitted quietly. I was lost, Mia. I thought leaving would make things better for everyone, including you. The audience in the cafe shifted slightly, sensing the rawness of this exchange. Mia stole a glance at Emily, whose eyes were ablaze with a mix of anger and sorrow, caught between her daughter's pain and the man she once loved. Rose reached for Emily's hand, squeezing gently, trying to tether them both in this chaotic moment. You thought leaving was the answer? Mia fired back, embers of her fury reigniting. You broke me, Dad. You broke us. Mark took a tentative step closer, his voice trembling as he struggled for the right words. I know I can't change the past, and I have no excuses, but I want to fix things now. I want to be part of your life. You think it's that easy? Mia interrupted, her gaze piercing through the space between them. You think you can just walk back in and play Dad after years of being a ghost? The sting of truth hung in the air, and for a moment, silence enveloped them, heavy and charged. Mark's eyes shimmered with unshed tears, and Mia hardened her resolve despite the twisting knot in her stomach. I'm not asking for forgiveness, he continued, his voice barely above a whisper. I just want a chance to show you I've changed. Changed how? Mia pressed, her pulse racing. What have you done to earn my trust? I've been working on myself, attending therapy, trying to understand why I left, he explained. I never wanted to hurt you. I thought I was protecting you. Protecting me? Mia scoffed, shaking her head. You don't protect someone by abandoning them. Across the table, Emily's grounded presence reminded Mia of the steadfastness she had always relied on. Mark, this isn't the place for old excuses, she said sharply. You're not going to win back Mia with mumblings about therapy. She needs action. The air crackled with tension, and Mia drew in a breath, her next question poised on her lips. What about my life now? You think I need you? You think I'm just going to drop everything because you decide it's time to fix things? Maybe I'm too late, he admitted, sadness lining his tone. But I want to be there for you, even if it's from a distance. Mia felt another wave of emotion crash over her. Part of her longed for that connection, but her mind flashed with years of memories more sadness than love. Maybe it's not about what you want, she said finally, her voice shaky. Maybe it's about what I need. Mark's expression shifted, the realization evident on his face. I'll do whatever it takes. Just, please, let me show you. Her heart ached with unspoken words, and she felt the slippery grip of uncertainty wrap around her. Was it possible to let him back in after so long? As Mia glanced around, she saw the witnesses to their fractured reunion, eyes filled with curiosity and sympathy. Now or never, she thought. I'll need time, she murmured, unsure of how much of herself she could offer. But I'll think about it. Mark closed his eyes for a brief moment, relief flickered through the creases of his face. But Mia's heart was still heavy, tangled in questions yet to be answered. As they sat in that cafe, silence wrapped around them once more, and Mia felt another layer of her defenses start to crack. In that small, warm room, could a path toward healing open up? She would have to make that choice soon. But how far back into their family history would she dare to delve? And would the truth provide the end or the beginning of something new? Mia stared down at her coffee cup, the dark liquid swirling like the chaos inside her. Just a moment ago, she had felt so strong, demanding answers and laying bare her heart, but now all of it felt heavy. The cafe around them buzzed with life, but her own world felt frozen in place, like a snapshot of confusion and hurt. It's not fair, you know, she heard Emily say softly. Her mother's hand was on Mia's arm, offering comfort in a moment when none seemed possible. This isn't just on you. Mia looked up, seeing the anguish in her mother's eyes. For years, Emily had been both mother and father, a lone warrior in the battlefield of their family dynamics. I wanted him to be better than this, Mia whispered, her voice trembling. But I don't know if I can trust him. Is he really trying to change? Time will tell, Emily replied, her voice steady yet tinged with uncertainty. But you don't have to figure it all out right now. You have every right to take your time. Mark remained quiet, his face a study in regret. He shifted nervously, his body spoke volumes of the effort it took to stay present in this reality he had abandoned. Had he really changed, he wondered, or was this just another act in a long-lost drama? The tears pooled in Mia's eyes. She wanted to scream out her frustration, to let all this pain spill into the air. What about the family I had? The life we built without you? She asked, the anger rekindling. Did that mean nothing? Mark inhaled sharply. It hurt me every day knowing I wasn't there for you. I thought I was sparing you pain. But I see now that I only created more. The truth of his words struck Mia, cutting deeper than she anticipated. She had spent years building a life around that absence, learning to cope and stand tall without him. It would be so easy to dismiss him now, to reject all his offers of change. Yet there was that flicker of hope, too fragile to hold, whispering that perhaps he had made some progress, some painful realizations that could lead to something genuine. Emily squeezed Mia's arm. Remember, sweetie, it's your choice. Your heart's been through so much already. You don't have to decide anything today. Mia fought the lump in her throat, wanting desperately to lean into her mother's comfort. It felt so wrong to expect something from Mark now, yet it was hard to ignore the small hope blooming inside her. What do you want, Mia? She heard Mark ask gently. The question hung in the air, heavy with possibilities. Slowly, she raised her head to meet his gaze. In that moment, she saw not just the father who had left but a man who was searching for redemption. I want to be whole, she said, her voice stronger now. I want to feel safe and loved, not just by you, but within myself. Mark nodded, as if she had spoken a truth he had long buried. Then let us start fresh. We can take baby steps. Baby steps, the thought echoed in Mia's mind, warming that flicker of hope. Could they really start from scratch? As they all exchanged glances, the air around them felt lighter, yet fraught with the weight of lingering uncertainty. Mia's heart raced with the responsibility of it all. Could she truly open that door even a crack? I need to think about what that means, she said finally. Outside, the afternoon sunlight flooded into the cafe, and she wondered if that warm glow could illuminate the dark corners of her heart. Just promise me you won't disappear again, she added, searching Mark's face for sincerity. I promise, he replied with a fervor that resonated of an earnest desire for connection. But a pulse of doubt flickered in her, gnawing quietly. Would promises hold as the reality of their past clung to her like an unwanted shadow? The moment was suspended in time, full of unspoken questions. What if this was the beginning? What if it all fell apart again? Mia felt the stirrings of a decision forming, mingling with fear and hope. As she took a deep breath, a figure caught her eye from across the cafe. A woman watching intently, notebook in hand. Who was she? What stories did she hold? Would she see the family's mess and be as lost as they were when it came to piecing together a broken past? Mia couldn't shake the feeling that more than one truth was waiting to be uncovered. Mia's eyes darted back to the woman, whose presence felt oddly magnetic amidst the chaos of the cafe. The woman's pen moved feverishly across the page, as if she were capturing every moment, every flicker of emotion that danced between them. Intrigued yet unsettled, Mia couldn't help but wonder what this stranger might think of them. They were a fractured family, sitting together like a jigsaw puzzle with missing pieces, and here this woman was, an uninvited audience. Who is she? Mia whispered, barely loud enough to be heard over the gentle clinking of cups. I'm not sure, Emily replied, her gaze shifting toward the stranger. But she seems focused on you three. Mark frowned, tensing slightly. Do you think she's judging us? Maybe she's just overwhelmed by our drama, Mia said, a touch of sarcasm slipping through her tight emotions. But beneath the lightness, she felt a knot in her stomach. Would this stranger understand the heaviness of their conversation? With a determined breath, Mia straightened her back. She hated the idea of being scrutinized but realized there was power in control, the control to shape how they would be seen, even if fragmented. She didn't owe the world an explanation, especially not to someone who was only an observer. Just ignore her, Emily said, seeing the furrow in Mia's brow. Focus on what you're feeling right now with your dad. That's the priority. Mia nodded, but the curiosity wouldn't leave. What if this stranger held a piece of wisdom she could share? Feeling a surge of courage, Mia turned slightly in her chair to get a better look at the woman. She was of an older generation, silver hair pulled back gently, a warm smile framing her face. There was something inviting about her presence. Let us not let her distract us, Mark said suddenly, his voice breaking the reverie. I came here to tell you how much I want to be a part of your life again, to show you I can be better. Before Mia could respond, the woman caught her eye, raising her notebook slightly as if inviting Mia to share her truth, to let loose. What could that look like? Did Mia even know herself what she wanted to say? I see a story unfolding, the woman said, her voice gentle, yet strong enough to draw attention. Each of you holds pieces of a grand narrative. Sometimes, sharing those pieces can lead to healing. What are you doing? Mia asked, incredulous. I'm a writer, the woman replied simply. And I believe stories can save us. This moment your story is just as important as the ones hidden away. Mia stared at the stranger, conscious of everyone's attention in the cafe drawn in by the unexpected turn. Was she meant to share all her anger, her hurt, her hesitation? The thought felt both terrifying and liberating. What if it all falls apart? Mia blurted out, her heart racing. Then you'll learn, the woman answered with a kind smile. And learning is never a wasted effort. Those words echoed in Mia's head, weaving through her uncertainty. Could they learn something today? Could this moment be the tipping point, the moment when she'd start to piece together her own story alongside her father? Mia glanced at Emily, her mother's reassuring presence offering strength. She then looked back at Mark, whose silence filled the space like a chorus of unspoken apologies. Okay, she said finally, making a decision that felt monumental. Let us start by talking. All of us. The table quieted, and Mia exhaled, feeling the weight of anticipation shift into something more hopeful. If they were going to rebuild, they needed to address everything: the hurt, the trust, the redemption. As Mia began to gather her thoughts, the woman jotted notes fervently, her eyes bright with inspiration. Would sharing their truths spark the change Mia yearned for? But just as Mia began to form her words, she caught sight of a familiar face through the cafe window, a figure from her past she hadn't expected to see. The light shifted around her, making everything feel uncertain again. Who was this new arrival? What role would they play in this already tangled web? Before she could sort the tight knot in her stomach, she knew that whatever happened next would change everything yet again. Emma stood back, her heart hammering. The cafe was a whirlwind of emotions, confusion swirling like the steam rising from her recently poured coffee. It felt charged, vibrating with the weight of years of hurt, hope, and uncertainty tethered to the fragile bonds of family. Okay, breathe, Emma, she whispered to herself, drawing on her inner strength. Today was about healing. About facing those burdens head-on. Little did she know, the moment was about to shift once again. The door swung open, and in stepped a woman with an aura of resilience and grace. It was Aunt Beth, Mia's former cheerleader and the kind of person who always knew how to listen. Emma's heart swelled. Beth might be a breath of fresh air in this heavy moment. Mia. Beth called, cutting through the underlying chaos. I couldn't stay away after hearing you were here. I've missed you. Mia's face lit up at the sight of her, and in that moment, all the turmoil of the past seemed to fade just a bit. The warmth in the room took on a new energy, a glow of support with each new arrival. The weight of fear shifted closer to understanding. Beth! Mia exclaimed, jumping up to embrace her aunt. I can't believe you're here. I wouldn't miss it for the world, Beth replied. She turned to Mark, her expression a mixture of surprise and concern. Mia's father in the mix, huh? Wow. Didn't he see this coming? Strangely enough, the presence of her aunt gave Mia a needed anchor. We're trying to have a conversation, she said, glancing back at Mark. Good. Hard conversations can lead to big changes, Beth said, her tone firm yet kind. The cafe buzzed with tension, and her voice rang true as she leaned into the heart of the matter. Mark offered Mia a small, apologetic smile. I came here to talk things through and make changes, but I get that it has to come from a place of mutual trust. In the intimate space of the cafe, the urgency unfolded with every small beat. Emma felt the tears prickling her eyes, witnessing the transformational shift. Let us build that trust, Mia said, her voice steady and clear. But I need to know that you truly mean it. I need to see that you can be here. Mark responded with fervor, I'll do whatever it takes. I want to show you, to prove to you that I can be present. Aunt Beth nodded along. Listen, trust isn't built overnight sometimes, it comes in baby steps. Even the smallest steps can lead to monumental change. Mia's heart raced at the sound of encouragement. This was exactly the support she needed. This was a moment to reclaim her narrative, to weave her story into one of hope and resilience. So, let us start here. Let us share. With that, the cafe began to embrace vulnerability as Mark shared heartfelt anecdotes about his struggles and the wake of his absence. Each story unfolded like petals slowly revealing their colors, the cafe atmosphere wrapped around them like arms in an embrace, drawing them closer. Emma took a deep breath, feeling digestion wrap warmth around lingering hesitations in the room. Standing near the window, she concentrated on her daughter's progress, hoping this was the healing space she had so desperately longed for. And then it happened the moment Mia found her voice and began speaking. I remember the dad who cheered for me, the one who taught me how to ride a bike. But that person feel distant. Tears brimmed as she spoke, the love layered in her confession bursting forth like the blossoms in her shop. The one I remember felt like he chose to leave and stayed hauntingly ghost-like in my memories. That hit hard, and Emma could see the impact ripple through the crowd standing on the verge of breakthroughs. Mia, Mark said softly, I see that little girl in your eyes. I want to be another version of that dad now. I want to fight and try what it takes to give you the love you deserve. The warmth of acceptance began to build, and as Mia shared her memories, the laughter, the heartache, they staked their claim as family vying to step forward into understanding. Just then, the atmosphere shifted once again. Beth stood up, glancing at the crowd, who had become so invested in the breakthrough unfolding before them. This is about so much more than just the three of you. It's something we all carry. We need to build bridges and community around these shared experiences. We've all seen our loved ones struggle. Exactly, Emma added, feeling the pull of connection from all directions. This isn't just Mia's story or Mark's, it's about every heart in this room wanting the same healing. Mia, moved by her grandmother's words, nodded. Let us build something together, a safe space where we can talk. Not just for us, but for anyone who's hurting out there. It's okay to struggle. It's okay to ask for help. Hope shimmered in the air, weaving together the threads of connection. Emma felt a surge of love sweep through her as she caught the glances exchanged in the cafe, admiration and understanding blooming like spring flowers among the community that once felt so distant. In that moment, they decided to establish a circle, a support group for families dealing with mental health, a place born from the fire of both struggle and resilience. Slowly, as they spread the word, they hoped to change Willow Creek from within, their own hearts rejoicing as they touched the lives of others. Mia smiled, looking around the room. No longer did she feel burdened by the shadows of her past. Instead, she felt empowered, lighter, a dawn breaking over the horizon, spilling vibrant colors across the canvas of her life. Their journey was just beginning, but for the first time in a long time, hope fluttered in their hearts. They were ready to step forward, together, each with their stories intertwined, reaching toward understanding, love, and healing. The cafe swelled with a burgeoning warmth, and Emma glanced at Mia, a radiant smile etching itself across her face. The bond between them had been rejuvenated by honest truths, and the first light of healing had dawned brightly within their souls. As laughter and conversation filled the air like the scent of flowers in an open field, Emma's heart swelled, grateful for each person who pledged to share their own journey forward. Now, let us make sure we never miss such monumental stories again. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you won't miss the next exclusive journeys that will warm your heart. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, supporting us in sharing hope and inspiration. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this powerful ending. Your voice matters. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this heartwarming transformation. Spread the love.